grateful. We're grateful to be on the adventure. We're grateful that
Yeah.
people enjoyed it, and we just want to give people good stories and good content to watch and something to have that departure. And that's really what Sullivan's does.
Maggie Sullivan is a successful neurosurgeon on the verge of starting her own practice, however, is unable to due to her partner being embroiled in fraud. With her reputation ruined, she returns to her home in Nova Scotia, to Sullivan's Crossing, back to her father, escaping from Boston, leaving her mother and her boyfriend Adam. She reconnects with the people she grew up with, along with a few fresh faces, reminiscing about the old days, yet being challenged about why she never kept in touch all these years. Something she regrets and wants to rectify now instead of focusing solely on her career. When she unpacks, she is surprised to see the painting of the tree her father helped her with when she was young, despite her mother's wishes. A core memory of her childhood, and the joy she experienced here before she was taken to the city by her mother. While here she helps at the outpost, and anyone in need of emergency medical attention, giving to the people just as her father has given over the decades, reconnecting with nature and learning to be freer, living in the moment and not trying to control everything. During this time, she is informed that she is being sued for medical negligence and the death of a patient, building on the pre-existing stress of having her fledgling practice be taken down before opening. Yet there are those present who are supporting her. Her stepfather Walter arrives at the crossing to bring Maggie back to Boston to prepare for the hearing. Tensions rise till Sully, with the risk of losing the crossing to death compounded by Walter insulting him, lashes out and punches him. Despite the progress he made with Maggie, she leaves due to this, driving Sully to relapse into his drinking habit. Despite the reassurances, things do not go as expected. Pushed to the corner not only by the patient's mother, but also the medical community of Boston, she reaches out to Sully, hoping to hear words of comfort, though when she does not receive them, she lashes out, pushing him further into the bottle. In his drunken state, thinking he has lost his daughter forever, paints over the tree, a memory now too painful to bear. When a family friend passes, she returns with her boyfriend Angelo, staying at an inn, keeping her distance from Sully, still not having forgiven him for punching Walter and not comforting her in her time of need. After the funeral, Anthony punches Cal, and this act of aggression causes her to leave him, returning to Sully. However, this time when she enters her room, she is hurt to see the tree is no longer there. Their relationship is tense from this point on, and finding out she is pregnant with Alan's baby, chooses to return to Boston, confronting him on why he never fought for her when she was younger, an argument that pushes Sully beyond his limits, bringing to the surface guilt for all the mistakes he made in the past, experiencing a stroke as a result. Maggie, hearing of this, returns as soon as she can, choosing to look after her father till he is properly recovered. Remaining at the crossing, she focuses on nurturing the connections she has rekindled and formed since returning, reorienting her priorities, desiring to build the foundations of her future here, wanting to raise her child with the legacy of the crossing in mind. One last hurdle remains. With everyone knowing the dire financial situation the crossing is in, she reaches out for help from her mother and stepfather. However, the solution is not as simple because it was Walter who was behind the destruction of her practice in the first place, which destroys her relationship with him as a result. Alistair brings her mother Phoebe to the crossing because she has nowhere else to go due to all of their assets being frozen during Walter's investigation. While the atmosphere was tense, cooler minds prevail as the old bonds are remade under the new circumstances. This time, the characters, having learned from their mistakes, stay in touch going forward. With Maggie's baby in mind, Phoebe and Sully paint a new tree in her bedroom prior to her departing. Not as it was, but built into it are the memories of her childhood, creating a home for the baby to grow up in. Symbols are a strong tool to be utilized by a writer when constructing a yarn, capable of communicating many ideas, themes, and character relationships based on the context. A tree can be seen from multiple perspectives. The fact the images of a tree in itself is important, symbolizing a closeness to nature, stability with firm ground beneath, strong from growing tall, and healthy with a full head of leaves. From a character point of view, such was the relationship between Sully and Maggie during her childhood. The fact this was done without her mother highlights it signified their bond in particular, though now a memory of the life they once had, unrecognizable from who they are now to each other. Narratively, it is a reminder to a simpler time in Maggie's life when her parents were still together and she was living in a place she truly loved. A time of peace, in stark contrast to the rush of the city she had since gotten used to. Thematically, it is a reflection of the past neither character is able to let go of. Maggie wondering why Sully never fought for her, and the opinions of him that has formed in her mind as a result, and Sully for all the regret that has been locked and built up inside of him. As a result of it being painted over, the consequences are devastating, yet it also presents an opportunity. Being erased is a rejection of the past in Maggie's eyes, and a desperate attempt by Sully to forget the good times that are now painful for him to remember. When painted again, it is Sully and Phoebe doing so for Maggie's baby, showing this tree is representative of the bond between the family as a whole, and the support that will be present for the baby when he or she is born. As it is painted again in the same location, it is a form of accepting the past, forgiving the mistakes made in spite, and the willingness to grow for the sake of each other. It is now a symbol of what is to come and the possibilities of the future rather than the pain held in the past. The bearing of framed pictures as its fruit forms the idea that they are all a result of the past they have lived, and the foundations of all the character relationships are rooted once more under a common desire. What is best for the baby? Raised in a loving environment, the fertile ground, in a place to call home, the strong foundation, healthy and close to nature. This symbol is doing so much heavy lifting from a writing perspective it is a wonder its back is not in pain. When executed well, such are the results. Narrative, character and themes are coming together to create story payoffs that are incredibly meaningful. Sullivan's Crossing is a show that is aware of where its strengths are and leverages them to its benefit, and this is but one example of it.